Oh, perfect. Okay, it is recording. Julian, right? I may ask you to just press this arrow from time to time when I want the next slide. Is that okay? Okay, great. So you guys all have your respective teams. We got some leaders from whether it be an athlete or a coach. Hopefully, after today, you would have an idea of what it takes to build an effective warm-up for youth volleyball athletes, covering a lot of different aspects that you may not have heard in the past, okay? Julian, do you mind going to the next slide, please? A little bit about myself. This is a picture taken in 2015 when I was in grade 12. Ken was my coach, and these are just a few of my teammates. During this time, a lot of fun with Apex, obviously, which is why I became passionate with the sport and decided to come back. Next slide, please. During my time in undergrad, I still was in love with the sport, so I was the athletic therapist for the UBC men's volleyball team. And then when I was doing my master's at McMaster, I was the strength and conditioning coach for the volleyball, basketball, soccer, and the football teams at that time. And that's when I really fell in love with the sports science side and wanted to mix my passions. Okay, can we go next slide, please? Following my graduation, I came back to Vancouver. I currently work for Mile Detox, which is a local clinic. A few days ago, we just hosted a mentorship session with the UBC physiotherapy students. And I was also doing a little bit of coaching on the side with Apex. This was a couple of years back with the 18U boys. And yeah, so this is when I was starting to think, how can I apply my physiotherapy as well as strength and conditioning acumen into the sport of volleyball a bit more, right? Next slide, please. Last summer, I had the opportunity to work with Team Canada and go abroad for a few international tours. And I was working as the physiotherapist for the team. This was actually my first time being a full-time physio in that role and not just handling all the coaching aspects. So I had a little bit more facilities, a little bit more time to do a deep dive on what it takes for a physiotherapist to really develop as well as to keep the players healthy throughout the season, right? And this got me thinking to, let's go to the next slide, to when I was coaching with the club in the previous years, like what is the club missing? And what are some of these teams missing at like the grassroots level that we can implement in the following years? And if we go to the next slide, in terms of a needs analysis, then this is my goal as the performance director in the coming years, is that I want to have early exposure to high performance habits for our athletes, because a lot of times when coaches are beginning to implement things like strength and conditioning, different exercises at like 16U, 17U, 18U, there's a pretty steep learning curve. And if we can give these athletes early exposure at a young age, then that learning curve becomes much more approachable. So that comes with increasing body IQ, for example, raising more awareness of different anatomical structures associated with different movements in volleyball, as well as having a proper warm-up and recovery to make sure that the athletes stay available, right? And the second thing I want to address is to remove the barriers to strength and conditioning at all levels. Now, when we think strength and conditioning, it doesn't always have to be lifting heavy weights in the gym, right? There could be a lot of things that we do at home with minimal equipment and still go a long way in terms of preparing the athlete for movements. Next, I want to develop a return to play protocol for concussions. And this is one of the things that I experienced as a coach last season, where we didn't have any baseline testing. And obviously it would be very hard to do a baseline test for everybody in the club, but at least having a return to play protocol for athletes who sustain head injuries would give the coaches much more direction, because this is one of the worst injuries we can have, but it's not often visible for athletes and the coaches. And lastly, I want to improve access to trusted health professionals such as doctors, physios, even nutritionists in the community, so parents as well as athletes know where to go right away and have a trusted source. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. All right, so agenda for the presentation today. I'll go over why having a proper warm-up is important, the principles of having a good warm-up, exercises in terms of ones that I would suggest you guys include. We're going to do a whole run-through with us 6 and do a timed trial just to make sure that you guys can stay within the time limit, as well as any conclusions and questions that you guys may have. You guys can either hold it to the end, or if you guys feel like it's pertinent for the whole group, feel free to ask me at any time. Sound good? Okay, let's go. Next slide, please. Why do a warm-up in the first place? And really, I like to say the best ability is availability for the team, right? When someone is injured, that's the #1 inhibitor for the player's individual growth as well as the team's performance. So I just pulled an article, and for the scientists out there, it's a systematic review and meta-analysis, which is a level 1 evidence. They basically compared athletes from different studies, a control group when they didn't warm up at all and proceeded to perform their sport of choice, as well as a group where they did warm up. And the results were significant, where the group that did warm up significantly reduced the injury rate for upper body and lower body occurrences. Okay? And so, long story short, it's very important to have a warm up. In the Masters of Motor Learning program that the head coach for the Team Canada took, Matt Kruger, the current chief of sport at Volleyball Canada, Kerry McDonald, he was the prof at the time, and he made them do a project on what is the best recovery exercise, right? And why is recovery important? And so the entire class was doing lots of research on what's the best exercise, but the results were inconclusive in terms of is a cool down actually the best way to prevent injury and stuff like that. And overall, at the end of the project, what Kerry said was, yeah, I made you guys think about all these things, but at the end of the day, in terms of injury prevention, nothing beats having a proper warm-up. And if you do all your recovery exercises, it actually doesn't help you as much as you just did a proper warm-up before the activity itself. Does that make sense? Sweet. Let's go to the next slide. So this is the most important thing to take away today, and it's the RAMP protocol. Okay? If you remember anything, this is the one for sure. Okay? What it means, it's basically an acronym for RAMP: raise, activate, mobilize, and potentiate. It doesn't have to occur in the same order, but as long as all 4 components are achieved for the specific sport that you're trying to achieve, that's what we're going for. Okay? R stands for raise. Are we raising the heart rate during the warm-up? Usually what I'm looking for is heart rate between 100 to 140. This is 50 to 70% of your max heart rate. And I calculated this based on a 12U female compared to an 18U boy, okay? Kind of within that range. The reason why we want to raise the heart rate, because not only if we increase our body temperature, but also increases our joint viscosity. So kind of like the fluids in our joints to make them move better. If our blood is not flowing through the body, it does not carry the oxygen and the nutrients to different muscle groups. And so this is very important to achieve, okay? Number 2 is activate, okay? Are we activating the proper muscles that we're gonna use for the sport that we're going to play? For example, for volleyball, are we activating the shoulder? Are we activating the hips, the knees, the ankles, muscles associated with those? And yeah, did I adequately warm up the muscles that I'll be using? It really goes hand in hand with mobilize, which is M. Did I move my joints to the range I will be using? If I'm warming up the knees and I'm only going, let's say, into this range right here, but on defense I need to go down into this range, then it's not really an adequate warm-up into that range, right? Because our joint surfaces, they need to have that lubrication into that range in order to decrease risk of injuries in the joint space itself, okay? And lastly, P, potentiate. And this is really for our nerves and the nervous system. Did I work on any speed reaction drills during the warm-up for that to apply to the demands of the sport? Is my nervous system ready to react, right? For example, this is a little bit more important for defenders such as liberos or left sides, right? Like, can you adequately identify a ball and, let's say, catch a ball? Can you react to left and right commands and stuff like that? Or for a middle blocker, going left to right to match the set, right? Does this make sense? This is the most important thing that we're going to cover today, okay? Let's go to the next slide. And so now we have a timeline. What should a proper warm-up look like when the athlete steps foot into the gym until the drills start, right? And the first thing is to establish a team standard, right? Can the athletes arrive 15 to 30 minutes early to do their individual warm-up? Individual warm-up is unique from the team dynamic warm-up because this is when you grind your physio exercises, any band exercises you have, any eye work or reaction time exercises that you could do with your partner. Let's say you have 2 liberos, you could do some like tossing drills and stuff like that. But this should take around 10 to 15 minutes, right? this is very individualized. So we have to respect the player's autonomy. If they have physio exercises that they're doing, this would be a really good time for them to do, right? And if they show up early, it doesn't have to cut into the team time that we have in the gym, right? So while we were out there waiting in the cold, this would have been the perfect time for them to do, let's say, some like banded crab walks, you know, some shoulder external rotations, stuff that would keep their joints healthy, right? Today, this is what we'll cover, a team dynamic warm-up. Very easy for coaches to control. Right? This is when the team is all together and we go over a succinct routine that covers everything from top to bottom, and we make sure we ramp it up for the athletes. Very easy for coaches as well as players to control in the practice space. It should take about 10 to 15 minutes depending on the flow of the team. Okay? And next, flowing into partner ball warm-up, this is when we do throws. We work on, all right, that's okay, you can get the ball. Hand contact with the ball if needed, and some partner peppering. Optional drills would be, if you guys are working on some blocking trips, this would be a good time to do it, as well as a warm-up game. And this is when the coach's creativity can come through. And I just put examples of two-touch tennis. But again, today, this is what we're focusing on. Okay, Julianne, next step, please. Good. Okay, so let's go into the exercises now. This is going to be part A. I split it into 3 different parts. In total, there's 24 exercises as part of this warm-up. Okay, it may sound like a lot, but a lot of them flow right into each other. And some of these exercises only take about like 10 to 15 seconds to do. Why there's so many exercises here, and why I actually want to standardize all these movements for everybody to know from 12U to 18U is that this is what's going to expand the athlete's kinesthetic vocabulary. Not only will they move their body, and from top to bottom, it's kind of like a warm-up and conditioning circuit, but they'll also learn how to move their bodies in different ways that they may never have been exposed to before. And this is when we think about when we're ramping it up, are we activating the appropriate muscles, and are we mobilizing the joints to the end range where they're supposed to be used, right? So hopefully you guys can maybe get in a sweat today while we do these exercises. And this will be a good time to, take off the hoodie, and we're gonna try some of these exercises ourselves, okay? Let's get ready. The formation that we'll have, thankfully we don't have too many people. We're just gonna go into a circle formation. So the lead, this could be the assistant coach, the head coach, or a player captain leading the warm-up. In the first few weeks, it's okay for them to have a phone or like a descriptor of the different exercises, but once you do this enough, it will just become knowledge at the back of the head, right? Like it's the players that I work with, I don't even have to lead it. They already know the entire routine top to bottom, okay? Let's maybe, I don't want to block the projector too much. Maybe I'll stand here if we can just make a, yeah, totally. What we do need though is kind of like for you guys to not hit each other.
This is
yeah.
10 to 15 minutes?
This whole thing will be 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah. The kids should be able to complete all these in 10 to 15.
Yes. But this is just one part,
Yep.
right? But at the end of the day, everything should be done in 10 to 15, okay? All right, so first thing we're gonna do is neck rotations. I like to start everything from top to bottom. We're gonna mobilize everything. And you'll notice that by the end of this, all of your joints will have been mobilized to the end range. And this is really the M as well as the A. While we're doing the M and the A during this, you will also raise your heart rate, okay? We're not at the potentiate port yet, but let's start from top to bottom. For neck rotations, a lot of your neck muscles also feed into the shoulder and the scapula. A lot of times when the neck is tight, the shoulder will be stiff. And a lot of injuries in the neck will affect how your shoulder moves, and vice versa. To keep the neck muscles at higher tension, I'm gonna ask you guys to place your hands behind your back and keep it down like this. What you'll notice is that my neck will be more elongated. By keeping the scapula down, now let's rotate our neck. I'm just doing semicircles. Letting my chin follow my collarbone. Left to right is 1 rep. We're gonna do 10 reps. Can everybody feel a stretch on the side of their neck as they go through? Yeah. And when you guys dip your chin down, can you feel a stretch at the back of the neck? Reason why I don't like to go all the way back here is because it compresses the vertebral artery. And oftentimes there's no need for us to go into this high extension range if it was uncomfortable. Here you go. Any questions for this exercise here? Pretty straightforward, right? Next, we're going to thoracic spine trunk rotations. We're gonna do 10 of these as well. For this one, I like to spread my base And if you guys are gonna try not to hit each other, we're using our arms to swing around. Maybe let's move this here, so. Awesome. Totally. So the momentum for this arm swing comes from the hips and the core. What I don't wanna do is turn my legs, because here we're not really creating the hip to shoulder separation we need to keep the core whippy. So I wanna think about when I swing over, is my right shoulder coming apart from my left hip and vice versa. I want my arms to be loose. And if you guys want relative rotation in the neck, try to keep your head facing forward. 5, 6. Can we all feel a stretch in the core, in the back, and the spine? Good. Good. Does that make sense? Totally. Next, we're gonna do arm swing rotations. Before, I used to do a lot of up and downs like this, a lot of side to side, but at a young age, it's really good to introduce proper arm swing mechanics to young athletes. And so what I wanna see here is toes and hips squared facing forward. We're gonna do a low even draw over here, arm nice and relaxed. The only muscle you should really be feeling is your posterior retractors, your rear delts as well as your rhomboids, maybe a little bit of your rotator cuff. And the motion starts being up here, and then you're just gonna crack the whip from the core, but it doesn't have to be super intense. And so, common mistake that I see people will make is they'll just go like this, right? Really short arm over here, but we want to emphasize relaxed arm and connecting the core to the movement. Cross body for this one. You want to swing, just getting the arms loose. We're not really adding any wrist movements through here, just getting the arm loose. And we're doing 10 times on each side. And it's important for us to work on the opposite side as well, because volleyball is a very asymmetrical sport. But how we can, when we train in the gym, as well as when we warm up, we should always warm up both sides, so the body is aware. Okay, try the left side now. Doesn't really matter where the other arm is. Sometimes I like to hold the chest. Sometimes I like to mimic the arm swing. So here we're mobilizing through the scapula. Left side feels weird, right?
Yeah. It's really weird.
It's weird until you learn how to engage the core. Because right side, we know how to use the core very effectively, but can we activate the anterior oblique sling from the left shoulder to the right hip? This is oftentimes what's missing in a lot of volleyball players. We're so used to opening up this way that we neglect this side of the core, right? So learning how to activate this, very important. Make sense? 10 times on each side. And I sweat easily, so I'm already dripping a little bit, right? Next up, we got hip circles, right? So we're moving from head to toe. Feel free to join in anytime, okay? I'm Nathan, by the way. Nick, nice to meet you. Okay. All right, next we're done the thoracic spine. Let's move down to the L spine as well as the hips. Here we're doing hip circles. And we're really bringing it around. Just doing small ones like these, there's no point, right? Let's take it to the end range. Bend the hips, bend the spine, bring it around town. Okay. Once you do 5, let's go the other way, counterclockwise. Can everyone feel that when you're on the side bend, a stretch on the side, as well as when we go across, stretch in the lower back? On the side. Yeah, really good. This is exactly what you need. Awesome. Okay, if you guys felt in the lower back, you guys are gonna love this one. Spread your base a little bit, hug the elbows, fold all the way over, let the head relax. Just watch me for a second. Left elbow to right knee. Right elbow to left knee. Feel that stretch in the lower back, as well as your hamstrings. Can everyone feel this here? Good. Head is nice and relaxed, flossing our nerves side to side. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll have clips of these exercises so you guys can implement it right away tomorrow at practice if you guys need, okay? All right, next up, we're working our leg swings, and we're gonna do 10 times on each side. I'm gonna make sure I don't hit anyone here. There's a little bit of balance involved here, right? For my right side, I'm just gonna go up and back. So we're just staying in one spot. As you can see, as I'm kicking back, I'm opening up my hips just a little bit. And different people may have hip restrictions, and that's okay. The most important thing is that we keep the leg nice and relaxed, and we maintain balance on our stance leg. 9, 10. Good. Let's switch to the other side. Any questions regarding this one? Nice and easy.
Increase the range throw, or just go right to your max?
Really good question. I would say the important thing is to feel a stretch at the back. So if you're not really feeling a stretch, maybe push into a range where you do feel a stretch. Okay? I want to kick that. Awesome. Hey. Yeah, so for example, my hip flexors are a bit tight, right? So if I kick back, if I just kick straight like this, I'm forced to arch my lower back a little bit. But as I kick back naturally, I'm gonna go into a little bit of external rotation. Reason why I want to go into a little bit of external rotation is because our hip flexor, the iliopsoas, is an internal rotator. So if I kick slightly into external, okay, if I kick into slight external rotation, I actually feel a better stretch in that area. Does that make sense? Yeah. Great.
Sorry, do I want to turn and kick like it? No, I want to keep my shoulders and everything forward. Like
it's okay. It's totally up to you. Like here, whatever feels nice for you.
But you,
right?
like, I feel like kids are going to start doing stuff like this, like where they're kind of like going around. You know?
Yeah, I would say as long as you keep your shoulders squared, that would be good. Because if you keep your shoulders square, you can still create this anterior oblique chain stretch over here. Okay? Does that make sense? Really good question, actually. Let's keep the shoulders square for that one. Okay? And then, lastly, in terms of, second lastly, in terms of this rotational component, is wrists and ankles. So here, my ankle is not digging in super deep into the ground. I'm just really nice and loose. And here, I'm going to the end range for my wrist, end range for my ankle in terms of inversion, eversion. Has everyone done this before? Not together? Yeah, takes a little bit of coordination. Switch. Good. Lastly, this is a recent exercise I introduced, but I think has huge implications in volleyball. This exercise is called corkscrews. Have you guys ever been exposed to the term tripod foot yet in the past? Okay. In physiotherapy, if we want good contact with the ground, you have to have 3 points of contact with your foot. The base of the big toe, the base of the little toe, as well as your heel. A lot of people, when they have ankle problems, knee problems, hip problems, it's because your foot is over-pronating onto one side, where you're really heavy onto this point and not so heavy onto this point on the tripod, or you're heavily supinated foot like this, and you're really heavy onto your little toe and not enough onto your big toe. Whenever we squat or deadlift, we want to make sure that 3 points of contact stay strong. Same with the squat, right? My tripod never lifts off. So this is a really good example. If my foot is really supinated like this and I don't have good pressure onto there, topples really easily, right? A lot of people have knee problems. When we have knee problems, the knee is just the victim. The culprit is actually at the foot and at the hips. If we're not strong at the foot and the hips, the knee is going to suffer the most. Okay? If we're really pronated like this, MCL, ACL, medial meniscus, this way. So we got to develop strong feet, and this is a perfect exercise to get kids to be aware. Okay? This one, we don't have to take our shoes off though. Stay in your shoes. But you should be feeling a little bit into the arch. We're gonna do 5 corkscrews on one side. Let's place our left foot facing forward first. Try to find that tripod, base of the big toe, base of the little toe, and the heel. And I'm gonna screw my hips around while maintaining 3 points of contact. Let's give that a try. Pause. Okay, can we feel that our arch is engaged in the foot if we try to keep that big toe down? Some of us may feel a stretch at the back of the ankle. Some of us may feel a stretch in the hip. Because here, I'm taking your hip into end range internal rotation. Can everyone see that? If I lift it off my foot, this is what it's supposed to be like, right? Why is end range internal rotation important? If I'm a right-handed hitter and I go for my approach after my block step, not only are both hips internally rotated, if this hip doesn't have adequate internal rotation, I'm just gonna turn out like this. And then when I push off, it leads to overuse of the vastus medialis obliquus. This is what causes medial knee pain all the time in volleyball athletes. It's a lack of internal rotation in that associated hip, okay? So let's try to find that, okay? Step through. You can breathe out as you step. See if you can feel in the arch. See if you can feel in the hip. Just 5 reps, nice and slow. My kneecap is, middle of my kneecap is in line with my second toe, which is the midline of the foot. That actually looks really good, everyone. Can everyone feel a little bit in the foot and ankle? A little bit? It could be because you're stuck in the blunt stones. Maybe try taking your shoe off. Yeah, try taking it off. I'm gonna use Alana as an example. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Pause. Okay. Are you still staying in contact like this? That looks really good, actually. So you have a pretty strong arch. Do you feel these engaging? Not really?
No.
But this hip is actually not bad. Do you feel a stretch in the hip at all? Oh, maybe you're not coming across far enough because you're a little bit more mobile, right?
Yeah.
How about now?
It feels awkward.
Okay,
I
great.
don't know if it's the right.
Do you feel a stretch in the hip or the feet at all?
It's more in this leg.
Ah, okay. Let's try this leg then, okay? Let's move on to the other side. Right side. Find your tripod and then come across. How does it feel on this side?
Feel it internally here.
Good, good.
That's good.
I think your feet actually move really well. Okay, the foot for you is not really the issue because your foot actually has a pretty nice shape. You don't have a bunion developing or anything. So your arch is actually quite strong. Does anyone feel it in the foot at all? Right in the arch, great. That's exactly where you want to feel it. Yeah, so once you step through, you should feel like your foot is trying to claw at the ground, supinating. Yeah, do you guys feel the foot clawing? But when that clawing happens, I don't want that to happen at the toes, right? I want that to happen at the tripod. So watch the difference here. The foot is flat, and this is what I want to do. It's picking up the arch with my intrinsic foot muscles. I don't want to do this. This is terrible, right? Leads to overuse of the toe flexors, right? Make sense? Chan, how's it feeling? Do you mind taking off your shoes? Let's take a look. Ah, nice. Chan, come in the camera so you can see yourself later. Do you mind if I hold this up a little bit? Okay, so naturally, so everyone can see, Chan has a pretty flat foot, right? His navicular, this bone right here, it drops straight to the ground. I can't fit any of my fingers next to him. Alana, do you mind coming over? Is it okay if I do a comparison? Yeah. Alana's foot is naturally in a bit of supination, where I can actually fit a few fingers under here. Very different from Chan's. Can everyone see that? I'm really looking for this bone right here. And now, if both of you guys did a turn, try not to hit each other. Pause. So now I'm going to test the integrity of the tripod, okay? How is it on the lateral side? Very, very solid. How is it on the heel? Pretty solid as well. So Chan, even though he started off with a flat foot, Chan, face this way, please, so the camera can see. Good, go into that position. His ending position is in supination. This is perfect. Can we see that? It's no problem for a foot to be flat at rest. In fact, a pronated foot is actually what you want in standing. The problem lies if our foot is unable to pronate and supinate at will, right? So Chan is perfect, okay? I love that. How about Alana right here? So her foot already started off at a relatively high arch, but here I'm gonna test the integrity again. Really solid at the 5th metatarsal, pretty solid at the heel, pretty solid at the big toe as well. So she's even able to pick up her arch even higher. Perfect example, right? This is exactly what we want to do. Make sense? Good. Okay, did we already do 5 on the other side as well? Perfect. Let's go into, so now we've finished up our rotational component. And why I like to rotate is because when joints have more than 2 degrees of freedom, so for example, my wrist, it can flex, it can extend, it can radially deviate, it can ulnar deviate. Whenever a joint can do that, it can always circumduct, right? It can always rotate. So if we want to take a joint through its full range of motion, we have to rotate. Does that make sense? Sweet. All right, let's go into split squats. This one, super easy. Now we're more in the activate portion of the warm-up, right? So we already mobilized all the joints. Now it's time to activate. For this one here, I like to stay in my railway tracks. 1 foot steps back, shoulder stays stacked on top of my knee. At this level, we're just gonna do up and down movements. At a higher level, we can do more plyometrics, but right now, we're just gonna go down into a 90-90 position. Nice, good work, and come up. 10 reps here. We don't have to hold for a significant amount of time, but here I'm thinking, is my tripod in my forefoot stable? And is my bipod at the back stable? Am I making contact with the center of my foot in that back leg? 9 and 10. Can we feel a burn in that rear quad there? Why this is important is because one of the quads, the rectus femoris, it also acts as a hip flexor. If we wanted to stretch the quads and load it eccentrically, so make the muscle work as it's lengthening, we have to make sure that our shoulders stacked on top of our knees to create this angle. If I'm over here, this is great for the front glute. This is not wrong, right? But it trains our butt, but it kind of neglects the stretch for the hips. If we're able to adequately load eccentrically into the quads here, not only can it limit a volleyball player's knee pain at the patella as well as the jumper's knees, but it's also one of the only stretches that allows us to hit harder if you're able to have greater range of motion in this regard, right? Nobody hits harder when they can only open up like this, right? You gotta be able to open up through the hip. Does that make sense? And oftentimes that'll take the volleyball player past 180 degrees, right? Okay, let's switch to the other side, if you haven't done already. Good focus. Yeah. And the more you guys do these exercises, the more conscious you'll be of how your body is feeling side to side. And a lot of players are going to complain, oh my God, I'm so tired after this one. It just means that they need to work harder in developing more capacity, right? Okay, next up, single leg glute bridge. Okay, here we're taking the glutes into a glute bridge position. Everyone's done this before, just watch me first. I still like the feet to be about shoulder width apart. Here, I'm driving down with my elbows into the ground. Very important concept in terms of core stability, because this lat, the right lat, is best friends with the left glute. The left lat is best friends with the right glute in a posterior oblique chain fashion, right? Just like how the left pec works together with the left or the right hip flexor and vice versa. You can imagine I have an X-Men logo in the front of my chest as well as on my back. So when I do a single leg glute bridge, I want to make sure that my lats are properly engaged. Okay, if I do the left side first, I bring my knee up towards the sky. It doesn't have to be straight, although it can be, and I just pump my hips up to the air. So in this position, not only is my glute working, but my lat on this side is also working. Common mistake that I see here is when people bring it up, this hip starts dropping, right? But you gotta keep this lat stable so we can connect that posterior oblique chain. Let's go 10 reps here, please. Start on the left side. Who feels it in their glutes? Perfect. Who feels it in their quads? Yeah, come over here, please, Julianne. That's a perfect example. Can you show me again, please? Love it. Where do you feel it the most? Super good awareness, right? Come on back down. The problem right now, so she's really good at keeping her hips level, right? But if you feel it too much in the quads, it's a sign that the heel is too close to the bump, right? Because here you're gonna feel a big stretch. But what happens when you go super far? Try it again. Where do you feel it now? Hamstrings, right? How about if I brought your knee to about 70 degrees? Can you give that a try? Do you feel more in the butt?
Yeah.
Perfect. There's a sweet spot to this exercise, right? Too close right here, pump up towards the sky. you're gonna feel big quad stretch, right? Too far away, you're essentially doing a hamstring bridge. Come on up, all hammies. The purpose, none of these exercises are wrong, right? It just depends on what you're trying to target, right? Right now, we're trying to target the gluteus maximus, biggest muscle in the body. For me, a good rule of thumb is 70 degrees at the knee. Okay, can we feel that a little bit more in the butt? So next time when your teammates are like, I don't feel it in my butt, and you look at them, what should you tell them? Yeah, it's just play around with that angle, right? Okay, go ahead. Thank you. How does it feel? Up there a little bit? Okay, yeah. Not bad at all. Are you applying good pressure?
I think so. Yeah.
Good, good. Just watch your head, okay? Nice. Okay, pump up towards the sky. Can you feel this in the glutes? Yeah. That's exactly what you want to feel, okay? Good. Up and down, up and down. See if you can feel that squeeze at the top. Ladies, do we need a water break at all? I'm sweating a little bit from talking. Does that make sense? Great. Do we switch to the other side yet?
I did.
Awesome. Next up, T, Ys, Ws, Os. If you guys aren't sweating yet, you're gonna start sweating now. We're doing this in prone position, and here I'm working on end range strengthening for the shoulder. End range strengthening is super important because it gets our joints into the end range and the muscles to be strong in that range. Everybody can do T's over here, but can you push it past at just that end range, right? Hopefully this camera picks it up. T's, we're gonna go 10 T's like this. I don't want you to scrunch up at the shoulders. I want you to imagine someone is pulling your middle finger apart as long as possible, and we're just going like a Flappy Bird. Y's, I'm going thumb up into this range, elbows stay straight, working on the lower traps, 10 reps through here. W's, I'm retracting, working my serratus posterior as well as my erector groups with my rotator cuffs, picking my sternum off of the ground. O's, prone swimmers, thumb to thumb, elbows straight the entire time. Okay, we're going 10, 10, 10, 10, 40 reps, and then we're going to scapular push-ups, okay? Let's give it a try. You guys got this. T's, let's go for 10, I'll do it with you guys. Here we go. Keep your chin down to keep your neck neutral. Y's. W's. O's. Let's feel that burn. And 10. Woo! How did that feel? Yeah, first time doing it in a while, it's gonna burn, right? But imagine this burn done every single practice throughout the season. Can you guys see how this would bulletproof the athlete's shoulder a little bit more, right? Next up, we're going over one of the more important muscles for shoulder stability. The muscle that we're training here is called the serratus anterior, which is I should have brought a graphic actually. It's a muscle that connects the scapula to the rib cage. A lot of times when we train with bands, we do lots of these, right? We do lots of these, we do lots of these. Gets our rotator cuff to be really strong. But as a physio, I don't care how strong your rotator cuff is. If your shoulder is weak at its roots, which is at the scapula, you're gonna have problems because your rotator cuffs are gonna be skating on ice, right? The perfect exercise for the serratus anterior is the scapular push-up. If we wanted to regress this exercise, you just have to do it on your knees, right? If we want to progress it, we can do it on our toes. While keeping our ears as far away from my shoulders as possible, I'm gonna let my shoulder blades retract without letting my belly collapse, and then push all the way up with a rounded spine. Down. Elbows stay locked the entire time. So I'm just pushing through the scapula. Let's do 10 reps of those. Let's give it a try. Nice, Alana, good. All the way up, perfect. Don't let the hips drop though, okay, when you go down. Nice work. Okay, Ed, Nice work. You're just losing tension in your core. Keep your core tight. Pretend I'm about to punch you. Oh, nice abs, man. No need to move your head, okay? Let's keep the head neutral. Chin down a little bit, pause. Let this squeeze back even more. And now get this to the ceiling. Push, 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 push. Perfect.
I really like that.
That's okay. Let it down a little bit more. Good. Now let the shoulder blades collapse. Try to let this collapse without letting this collapse, right? Because right now you're arching the spine, but let's keep the core flexed, and you want this neutral the entire way through. Only thing that's moving is your scapula. So bring it down. So right now, this is a great area of opportunity for you, is can you dissociate the scapula from the spine?
Okay.
So watch me for a second. This is what you're currently doing. When you're trying to bring it down like this, you're just losing tension in the spine right now. So you want to keep the spine neutral and just work through the scapula. Protraction, retraction. Much better, much better. Pause though, you can go even higher. Push, 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 nice, but don't move your chin. Keep your chin neutral. Okay, try again. Way better, okay, way better. So as you push up, if I'm a rock climber, I shouldn't be able to grab on to any rock climbing holds as he pushes, right? Are we comfortable on this side? Totally, let's take a look. Keep your elbows straight. Good. Core tight like I'm about to chop you. Good. Okay, bring this down towards the ground.
Do I keep my arms straight?
Yeah, elbows got to be straight. Perfect, good. Can you, while maintaining this position, can you go up a little bit higher with the belly, but keep this down?
Keep my belly.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, this is the hard part, right? How can we dissociate the spine with the scapula? Okay, so let's bring this together. Okay, so bring this down together. Good. And now push this up all the way towards the sky. Even higher. Even higher. Even higher. Good. There you go.
How do I go down?
It's about keeping the core tight and just working through this motion. Right now, I think your problem is you're trying to bend at the elbow and bend at the spine. You need to dissociate that from just the scapular movement itself. Takes a little bit of practice. Much better, much better. So yeah, so you can go a little bit more range, but sometimes for players, especially at a younger level, let's just get them on their knees and just really work on this motion. Because if their core is not strong, they're gonna collapse for sure, like this, right? So on the knees, perfectly fine alternative. Make sense?
So how do you press your scapula together or something?
Yes, essentially you don't have to think about retracting it as much as just letting gravity do its work and to pulling it down. Because if you just lose tension in the scapula, they will naturally come down. Obviously you want to control that movement and you don't want to just collapse into there. Control it, control the gravity, and then push through with the straightest anterior. Your pecs will come into play a little bit, but it's mostly this scapular muscle at this range.
I'm feeling between my shoulder blades.
You're feeling between shoulder blades? Yeah. That's okay, because they will have to co-contract. Whenever this contracts, the antagonist muscle will always have to co-contract to stabilize. That's why sometimes when you do triceps, you may feel a little bit in the biceps too, right? Sound good? Okay. Like I said, I sweat really easily, so now I'm already sweating bullets, right? So that was part A. Does that make sense? That took us a long time, right? But in practice, there's no way it's gonna take us this long, right? Let's move on to part B. Part B, we're gonna be in line formation. Obviously we don't have a court here, but I will demonstrate the exercises. You guys will try it over here. And during the run through, we're gonna do it on court. Does that sound good? First one is, let me explain the formation first. This is when the circle breaks up into the end lines. So if we had only one court, after the circle, we go end line, end line. We have A1, B1, A2, B2, and so on. Everyone's gonna be lined up along these edges, and everyone does A towards the net and does B away from the net. Does that make sense? So they're staying in their own lane. No player should be weaving across, right? Everyone stays in their own lane. Does that make sense? Pretty clear, right? First one is world's greatest stretch. Many, many different variations to this one. This is how I do my variation, okay? First, I hug the knee towards the chest, and then I step out into a long lunge. Again, railway tracks. I don't want to be too much in tandem like this, right? I want my knees to stay in line with my shoulders. You guys can just watch me and then we can try it together, okay? Important thing here is that we keep the back knee straight. If we let this go, we're not gonna get like a big hip flexor stretch. Keep the back knee straight, core stays tight. I like to do a reach up like this towards the sky. Common mistake here is that people let the heel down. But can I keep my heel pointed back, reach up, hand down towards the ground, elbow to the ankle. Okay, I think about this, but if you're more flexible, you can for sure feed the hand through as much as you can. And then I unwind. Look at my back knee. It stays straight the entire time. And from here, I just go into the other side. Make sense? Let's give it a try. Okay, let's do it together now. Let's start off hugging the right knee towards the chest. Thanks, Ed. Good. Long lunge. Back knee straight. Right elbow on right knee. Reach up and twist. Keep your left heel pointed back. Left hand to the ground. Right elbow to ankle. Reach up. Down again. And up. Make sense? Let's go to the left side. For the sake of space, I'm just going to step back. Long lunge. Left elbow on knee. Reach up with the right. Right heel stays pointed back. Right hand to ground. Left elbow to ankle. Can we feel that stretch in our groin? Reach up towards the sky. Twist. And down again. Nice, Chan. And up. Good. Usually, if we want to get to end line to the net, it's 2 reps per side, okay? So it's left, right, okay? 2 reps per side. Now we're at the net, okay? So side A and side B on this side, we're all at the net now. We're gonna turn around and we're gonna do very classic volleyball stretch, the floor sweeps, right? But I wanna give you guys the theory behind the floor sweeps. Because right here, a lot of people think it's just a stretch for the hamstrings, which for sure, that is the number one thing we're trying to stretch here, is the hamstrings. But a lot of people just go like this, and they're done. You have to try to be intentional with this exercise because this is a perfect opportunity to put all of your nerves, starting from your cerebellum into your spinal cord, into the tips of your toes on maximum stretch, right? In this position, you should actually feel a kind of nervy sensation if you have increased tension. And you actually just want to let the body relax. You don't want to hold any tension, and you just want to sweep, 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 sweep. Perfect chance to actually stretch out the nerves, okay? Let's give it a try. Start with the right side first. Let the head relax. And then sometimes I take a few steps forward and I do the left. Do a few of these while keeping the knee straight. Can we feel a stretch in the hamstrings and the calves? Make sense? If we want to get more advanced in the future, we can change up the hip angle to target different hamstrings. But right now, for now, let's stick with just keeping the toes straight, okay? Now we're back at the end line, okay? Lateral lunge into lateral line stretch. So if I'm facing the net this way, I'm gonna start off by taking a nice big step. Now I'm facing the side of the gym. And I'm going lateral lunge to one side, lateral lunge to the other, and then pushing off of my glute into a side bend stretch, getting in my QL, my glutes, and my lats onto one side. Again, let me show you guys that again. I'm facing towards the net, big step, lateral lunge, step through, and as I'm about to turn to the other side, it's kind of like a ballerina turn, where I just pivot and go other side.
Is there such thing as too deep for the lateral lunge?
Great question. Is there such thing as too deep? I would say that as long as you're able to keep, let's say you have flashlights on your shoulders and your hips. If we can keep all 4 flashlights pointing forward at the same time, no such thing as too deep, okay? But if you try to get too deep and your shoulders start going this way, that's no good. Right? You want to keep everything squared with your 4 lights, okay? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, can we feel a stretch in the lower back and the lats as we go like this?
Like that.
Yeah, as long as you keep your hips squared.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. It's so easy, right? All we have to do is pivot. Right? Yeah. Yeah, you can do that as well. But I'm lazy, right? So I'm here, I just turn. to go the other way.
Just turn.
Yeah, just turn.
Just turn. Just always turn.
Yeah.
I don't think that matters.
Yeah. No need to get stuck, but sometimes the girls like the ballerina turns and whatever, you know? Yeah. Okay, now we're at the net again, right? Sumo squat, Y raise. Sumo squat, you can just think of it as a wider squat, kind of like a sumo stance, right? So now I'm facing towards the end line. I take a big step. Again, I want the middle of my kneecap to be pointed towards my second toe. So I don't want to see, this is the worst, right? No need to do this, right? This, I don't think anyone's gonna do this, but this is what we want to avoid, right? So can we open up adequately through the hips and still engage our glutes to get into a deep squat in this position? One thing you guys can look out for is this. When the girls start collapsing in their spine, it's not really exactly what we want. Good thing it's not loaded, right? But it's good to instruct a neutral spine right now. So we don't want our butt to wink down like this. So if you imagine there's like a broomstick from the top of my head to my tailbone, it should all be straight, right? And you can look at the neck as well. Don't let the neck be down. Don't let it be up, okay? So facing the end line, a big step. That might be a little bit too wide, but if you can achieve that, that's quite good. Okay, down, and then I'm do a wide raise while keeping a neutral spine. Elbows straight. And then you can drop the arms, relax. Another big step, wide raise. Hands down, nice work. Okay, let's take a look, Alana. So your step is quite wide. Okay, go ahead, go into the, but you're still quite good in terms of keeping this in line. That's perfect. Can you feel a bit of a stretch in the adductors?
Yes.
Good, keep your elbow straight, perfect, good. Good. Chan, let's take a look. Everything is great except your spine kind of lost its tension. So you were down here, down and up. So you were down here, you were over here where your spine started arching, and then you started to arch back before you stood up, right? So just try to keep your core and your lower back tight the entire time. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look. Good, turn around, do it again. Hands down. Nice. Only thing I would say is keep your chin down. Don't look up like this because you're gonna lose your neutral spine, right? Because the neck is part of the spine as well. Okay, other than that, really good, okay? And let's take a look. Good, yeah, just keep the hands up as you go, yeah. The muscle that we're activating when we go up like this is the lower traps. Number one stability muscle when it comes to overhead movements, okay? All right, that one pretty easy, right? Everyone understand? Okay. Oh, we're good? Okay, yeah. All right, next. So we're back at the end line again. Great, no problem. Feel free to join in if you want, okay? Does anyone need water right now? Good chance to get water, okay? All right, yeah, go ahead. Well, I need to refill mine too. Still recording, nice. Yes, Nina, I thought, you can come on Thursday too, so you can get the beginning. Sounds good. Oh, so close. Yeah. Okay, we're at A3 now, right? So we're back at the end line. A is always from the end line towards the net, right? Figure 4 stretch, really easy, but here I'm looking for, can you maintain balance with your stance leg and get down and still feel that really deep glute stretch? Really good time to be aware of your tripod. Right. Nice.
I find my knee tracks over my toes a lot, and I always have been told that that's not like safe.
Knees over toes, that's totally safe.
Okay.
Totally safe, yeah.
Okay.
Unless there's pain, then you can kind of adjust a little bit, but that looks really good. Can you feel the stretch there?
Yeah, big time.
Can you try this to push down on the glutes? Can you feel that along the side?
Yes.
Perfect.
What part of the body are we stretching?
The gluteus maximus and the gluteus medius, okay? So down here, push, and then I take a few steps, and that's totally okay if you guys are losing balance because you guys got the whole season to practice, right? Love it. When I want to go deeper, if you guys have the mobility, I either use my hands to push down or my elbows to push down. The gold standard is if we can get our shins parallel with the ground. Okay? Oh, nice. And remember, for exercises like this, always kneecap in line with your second toe. Okay? Make sense? From end line to net, it should be 4 reps. So 2 on the right, 2 on the left. Sound good? Now we're at the net, we're going back towards the end line. Question? Say again?
Second toe. Oh,
Second toe. Yeah, so that's the midline of the foot.
So it doesn't
Okay?
do this.
Guys, the foot, the midline is not the third toe. For our hand, the midline of the hand is down my middle finger. Midline of the foot is down the second toe. Okay, so middle of the kneecap in line with the second toe. So I'm at the net now. I'm moving back into a quad stretch into RDL. So I can start on this side first, grab my ankle, hands up towards the ceiling, and I'm going hand to knee parallel with the ground. And then I come back up. Nice. So don't try to look up. Your head goes down with the rest of your body. And then come up. So not only should you feel a stretch in the quad, but also a stance leg, hamstring, and calf stretch. Okay, so one more time. I'm going towards the end line, pick up my heel, down, stretch, come back up, walk a couple of steps, pick up the other side, down, and then up. Staying aware of our tripod. What if it's too hard for the athletes? That's okay, still have them give it a try. We don't have to go parallel. We can get them to stretch over here, because you don't have to go super deep to feel that quad stretch. You can be here and feel the quad stretch. So they can even find the balance here, and then go the other side. But again, we're trying to get them to be better movers, right? All in part of getting them to become better athletes. Now we're back at the end line, right? Toe walks, posterior shoulder stretch, into heel walk, tricep stretch. So I'm going towards the net. I'm going into a high ankle position, and I'm locking out there. I'm not letting my ankle drop at any point. Now, as I do this, I'm gonna grab my rotator cuff, hit 2 birds with 1 stone, pulling it across my body, feeling that stretch in my posterior cuff. Once I get to the middle of the court, switch and do the other side. Can we feel a stretch or an engagement through the calf as we're staying like this? Really good. Okay, now I'm at the net. I'm going towards the end line. Now I'm gonna activate the tibialis anterior. Very important muscle in terms of staying engaged in our penultimate step. If this muscle is not strong, my foot is just gonna flop. And Derrick Rose, right, snaps ACL because his foot just flopped and his knee gave away. So we wanna make sure that this muscle is nice and activated. So I'm going onto our heels into a high heel or high toe position and having my toes locked, and I'm stretching my triceps. Honestly, it doesn't matter which side you start with, as long as you switch halfway. Can we feel that engagement in front of our shin? Perfect. Nice job. Okay, again, to recap, in this part B, line formation, everyone lines up along the end lines. Exercise A towards the net, exercise B towards the end line, and the warm-up lead, I like to start at the referee post over here. And I'll just demonstrate going across the net so they can do it. Does that make sense? But you guys, you can demonstrate wherever you want. This is where I find the most success. Make sense? Part C, we're still in this type of formation where you're on the side. Now we're going into potentiate. Does anyone remember what potentiate is for? Nervous system, right? For the brain. First, we're gonna go some snap downs. Honestly, this is not too much of the nervous system, but it prepares our brain to take the impact, right? So for snap downs, I wanna get nice and high onto my toes, get as high as possible, as long as possible from the ground, and then snap down towards the ground, right? So high, okay, just preparing our body for impact. If we're gonna be landing from a max jump, we gotta make sure that during our warm-up, we prepare our body for that type of landing. And this is a really good time to stay bilateral. Bilateral meaning same on both sides. We might as well keep things, because when we're warming up, we don't have to do anything too crazy where we're getting bumped or anything. Good way for us to introduce that impact to our body. After we do 4 stationary snap downs at each location, I'm gonna ask the players to face one side of the gym, right? And I should have mentioned this, where I'm always super picky on the team looking like a team, so they have to stay as a team as they go A and B, right? This sets the standard and it really sets apart the good teams and the bad teams, the well-coached teams and the teams that are not well-coached. It's how, when you step onto the court for a game warm-up, does your team look like a team, right? And so this is also one of those occasions. When we move towards the net and move back, the whole team has to move as a unit, okay? Snap down with single leg lateral hop and bound. A little bit complicated by the name, but it's actually pretty easy. Down here, so this is the net. I'm facing the side wall now. So just watch me first and then you can try it ourselves, okay? I'm gonna snap down into a single leg. So that's the first movement. Snap down, right? And now I wanna think about in my head, low ground contact time. I wanna get off this foot because the floor is lava, okay? So from here, and bound. Okay, let's watch that again. And I stick the landing. And I go again, and I stick the landing. Does that make sense? So we're working on quick contact point with the ground, hopping to the side, sticking the landing, and controlling all of our landing mechanisms, right? So think about if you're drifting on the block, can you land, and can you transition right away, right? Let's give that a try, okay? Find a line, get up high into your snap down position, snap, and land. Selena, you just started with us. No need to go crazy, okay? Because we're all warm right now. Yeah, you don't have to go crazy. Nice job. Really good work. Good. Really nice. So, once it should take you guys 2 to 3 snap downs, probably around 3 snap downs to reach the net. So now I'm facing the same direction. I'm going the other way now, so nobody has to turn around, right? Everybody's still facing the same side of the gym. Down and stick. And stick, okay? Let's try the other side.
Faster to go far.
Good question. You need to go at a distance where you can still control your center of mass. If you're leaning over and falling down, you should probably decrease that distance a little bit. Yeah. So maybe it could be athlete dependent, okay. But you want to be fast off the snap down, but you want to be slow and controlled in terms of sticking that landing. Okay. Okay, great. Nice. And if players don't have the landing yet, it's okay. It can be here, here, whoa, wobble, stick. Okay, but get them to work towards finding their center of mass over their center of gravity. Okay?
You don't want us too far forward, you want more in the down.
I'd say in like a quarter squat, right? Okay. But you never want this. In volleyball, you never really want this, right? Yeah. Make sense? Okay. So now we're back at the end line, right? So we went here facing the same way. And they're still gonna face the same way for the next one. Now it's a double hop and bound. Something is easier, something is a bit harder. But we're gonna go down, a double hop and bound. This really should take 2 steps to reach the end of the line, right? What this mimics is this block movement. It's that, right? But can we control our body weight and still land on one leg? Because if you commit with the middle and you gotta help with the right side, you gotta go. Does everyone see that? And this is in a controlled environment, can we work on that single leg landing? Come down, snap down, and stick, right? And same thing going the other way. Stick, okay? Just be careful with the blunt stones, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, try not to topple over. Nice, Julian, not bad. Try not to cross over your feet though, okay? So here, it's like almost like a matching step.
Like a shuffle?
It's like a shuffle, except only one foot is in contact with the ground at all times. Right? So it's like this, watch. You see how only one of my feet is in contact with the ground at all times? Good. Yes, good. Just make it a bit quicker now. Perfect. Yeah, stay light on your feet, right? No need to stomp down during those steps. Good. Yeah. Hey, and that's perfectly fine. So Chan did a great example of, in our young age groups, 12U, 13U, they don't have this lateral force yet coming from their glutes. It's okay if it's just step down, and a side shuffle to the side. Perfectly fine. Make sense? So we went there and back again. So we're at the end line. And now this is our last one. And we're really working potentiation for the nervous system now. Okay, so we're going, so this is where the warm-up lead has to take more of a vocal active role. So we're gonna first start with fast feet. So when the vocal lead says fast feet, everyone's gonna go fast feet, right? And then we're gonna do this 3 times, but the leader is gonna say left or right, and the players have to react, okay? You guys see the attack line? This is where they need to stop on a dime, and I want them to straddle the attack line, either left or right, okay? So pretend this is gonna be a shortened variation. I'll try to stay in the camera. Let's see where the frame is. Perfect, okay. All right, this net post is gonna be my imaginary attack line, okay? And I'm starting at the end line over here. So Alana, can you be my lead? So can you say fast feet?
Okay. Fast feet.
And then can you say left or right?
Right.
I'm gonna turn and take that negative step with my hips to go right, and then I'm gonna sprint to the attack line and stop on a dime, straddling the attack line, facing the right side, okay? So if the athlete gets it wrong during the first turn, it's okay, because mentally they can process, oh shit, I fucked up. And then they can correct themselves here, right? But it's interesting to see for them as well who gets it right, who gets it wrong, right? In real time now, okay? So this is my baseline, that's my attack line. Can you go again? Doesn't matter which.
Fast feet. Left.
Does that make sense? Obviously it's a short distance, but you can imagine them starting from the end line and straddling the attack line. Make sense? Let's give it a try, okay? Find a line. Doesn't have to be far. Actually, let's line up over here. Let's line up on the blue line. Please don't hit the whiteboard. And we're just gonna go towards the white line, first white line, okay? Blue line to the first white line. You guys ready? Yeah. To the first white line, okay? Don't hit the board, Julian. Fast feet. Left. Good. Okay, and then just walk back. Walk back. 2 more times. Fast feet. Right. Nice work. So other side, right? Because that was your left, because you turned to your left side, but we want our right side turn. So you can think of it as turning towards the left or turning towards the right. So turn towards the right. No problem, no problem. Fast feet. Right. Nice try. So that was still the left. Good job. Does that make sense? Yeah. Nice. It's okay. Alana, you have a chance to redemption at the actual run through. Okay? You got this. Sorry?
For Thursday?
No, right now. No, like we're doing the full run through now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions regarding the last one? Okay. How are we doing for time? Oh, perfect. Okay. Good timing. Okay, so to recap, we have part A in circle formation, we have part B lined up, and then we have part C. Altogether, it's 24 exercises. I'm gonna time it now to see if we can complete it in less than 15 minutes. Okay? And that's our team dynamic portion. Everyone, let's get some water. Okay? Let's get some water.